Hi guys, welcome back to the Garden Tractor Geek YouTube channel. We have another video today on the 782. So yeah, we have a 782. This is a true IH built Red Cub. They made the IH built Red Cubs up until June of '81, and then they switched over to CCC, or as some other people call them, MTD. MTD took over in after June of '81, and made Cub Cadets from '82 to '85 with the same apparel as the IH built ones. This one happens to be a 1984. I'm not going to get real into that tractor today because this video is about the 782. But so I just wanted to say this is a true IH built 782. It was made in March of '81. Technically, it is pretty much the last batch of one of the last batches of Cub Cadets to leave the factory, the IH factory, anyhow. So cast iron rear. It has the red front axle. I prefer the IH ones. Just never been a fan of the aluminum transaxles, and I'm sure I probably won't ever. That just comes down to weight. I like the extra weight on the rear end. But like I said, we're not going to compare tractors today. But I just want to say why I prefer this over, say, a later 782. So, to get into this tractor was bought over the winter by my father off of a local guy who stated this was a local tractor, which means it came from a local dealer that I am planning on buying a lot of NOS decals that they would have put on these, a lot of memorabilia, stuff like that. I have a buddy who has some very solid connections in the area who bought out a lot of stuff from this dealer. So due to the fact that this is my second tractor from that dealer, that is really neat. That's part of the reason why I actually got this. We picked this tractor actually not even a mile up from where that dealer would have been. But I think I paid $300 and $350 for my dad, which some of you will be like, oh my god, you literally, ripped him off. And we'll get into that a little bit because, ideally a 782 with nice original paint, you're looking at about $800. We'll get into some of the issues that it has, but just look it over a little bit. I did clean it up since I got it. It's not quite the quality of the 582. I mean, the 582 is pretty pristine. But this tractor has a lot less hours. This tractor has, when I picked it up, it had 540 hours on a working hour meter. If you can see that, hold on. Yeah, the yellow one right there, I've ran it a little bit. You can see that just a little bit past 540 now. The yellow hand, the red is the service intervals. The white just shows that it works. And then the yellow is your actual hours on the hour meter on these, if anybody's curious how to read those. But yeah, there's your hydro. The seats. Here's something that I didn't know about the seats until recently. Only the 782 out of the non-supers. Only the 782 came with the high back seat. As you see over here, that came with a lower back seat. You might ask, which do I prefer? I can't say I really have a preference as far as comfort is concerned, although I will say that the high back looks better in my opinion. Might actually switch that over to a high back, but I've been fighting myself because it still is a solid original seat, as you can see, with minor tearing. Single hydraulic. My last 782 had dual hydraulic spools. That was a 1979. But I didn't really know the history. I assumed it was local because it came locally, but you can only assume so much. PTO, nothing real special or rare on it, other than it's local. But it does have something kind of neat under the hood. I'll just show you. That is right. It is a Magnum 18. Now, we will discuss the KT-17s and the Magnum 18s. Long story short, the KT-17 Series 1 engines had a splash lubrication system like a Kohler K series like this has. They quickly found out that splash lubrication in a post-twin was not a good idea. Kohler had major issues. Two major brands that use those were Cub Cadet and John Deere, specifically on the 682 and 782 Cub Cadets and the John Deere 317s. It almost caused Kohler to quite literally lose their whole operation. It was a disaster. It was so bad that Kohler came out with the KT17 Series 2 with a forced lubrication system, which means that it has an internal oil pump. So, quick little history on that. The Magnum 18 was basically the X on the whole KT17 name, and basically just really a replacement. So this engine more than likely had a KT17, which even the Series 2 weren't the best, but they were a heck of an improvement over the Series 1. But yeah, basically what this is a KT17 Series 2 with a different name. Really the only difference you're going to find is the way the oil lines come out on this is a little funky. Another thing you're going to find, this has a magneto. I can't remember exactly if the Series 2 had points or not. It's been a couple years, like I've said, so don't quote me on that. But, yeah, I can't remember, but I know this engine has a magneto, which actually makes it really easy to wire up. With a magneto engine, all you got to wire up... Sorry, my nose is a little stuffy. It's been getting cold and warm, and so excuse me there. But basically, with a magneto, you can just put a hot wire right to the starter, and it fires right up. You don't need to do anything. All you need to do is power that starter. The only other thing is a mag kill switch, which I have right here. That's my mag kill. So all that does is ground out the magneto, boom, and I have that connected to the key switch, so when I hit that, boom, it's done. Long story short, anyhow, this engine has a major flaw, which I kind of knew about it, but I wasn't 100% certain. That's pretty much why I got it so cheap. I actually still got it pretty cheap considering the condition and its history. But of course, it came from my dad, so he gave me a really good deal on it. And I know what this tractor's about, so I'm not getting into anything blind as far as, I know the hydro works just fine. I know everything works besides right here. That's what we're going to get into real quick. And it's going to be fairly quick, but... So, when I had this engine before, and this tractor I was running it, my dad's, I didn't have it, but I was running it. I don't believe at first it had an over-revving issue. At some point, it started having a over-revving issue. We decided it was a Wellboro carb. They're notorious for being junk. I just thought something was broke inside of the carb. Because when you just open the carb up, you can't really see very well, but just the tiniest movement, it would go sky high. So we replaced the carb with a Carter carb. That carb never ran. At that point in time, my dad had other projects going on and decided he was done. And it sat in the weeds all summer. At some point midway through the summer, I brought up the question of buying it, and he just he's like, yeah, I'll think about it. And then maybe a week or two later, he said, yeah, I'll sell it. We worked out a price, and took me half the summer to get the money for it, but I did eventually get the money for it. And well, here it is. Needless to say, either the governor has fallen out, which I've talked to a couple people, or the nylon gear on the governor, which is pretty notorious, has stripped. Right now I have the best setup I can have for the time being until I find a replacement engine and pull this one. I actually went out today, I bought this spring, which is a little stiffer, and it's hard to see, but right here, and I put that on this, pulling it this way. This spring's a lot less stiff, but I still needed a little bit pull because it was too strong. So I put this spring right here. And I mean, that throttle just moves this much. But to that little bit of point, that engine is at maximum RPM. So, and this is my third carb, so I'm pretty certain at this point I know it's not the carb. This carb does work. So, it actually works pretty good. So, it's kind of where we're at. And to get this governor replaced, I was talking to a couple shops, one I trust very much. They straight up told me if I do that, I might as well just rebuild the whole engine. And at that point, I'm looking at $1,000 at least, with labor, parts, there's a lot involved. And I did some thinking, and I can get a nice running bench-tested M18 or Onan or Vanguard for around, $400, $300, somewhere around there. So I have made the decision. This engine is coming out, and it'll probably be a parts engine. Now, I am still debating what brand of engine I'm going with, but as time goes on, I'm more or less considering another M18. I've had bad luck with these Kohlers, but everyone seems to tell me they're great engines. So I'm going to give them another try. And with this next one being bench tested and coming from somebody I know that's a registered dealer, parts dealer, I feel pretty good about getting another Kohler from, for this. So we did a lot of work to fit a Kohler engine in here. So 9 chances out of 10 this will have another Magnum. Really, that's the only downside, though. It does run. I'm not going to start it up tonight. Unfortunately, it's about 11 o'clock. Not really fair to the neighbors. But maybe tomorrow I'll do a little running video of it. Let you guys take a look at it and see how it runs and drives. Like I said, though, it drives good, everything works good. What the heck? I must have dropped something. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at on it. I doubt I'm going Vanguard because it's a lot of work. I think I'm doubting going Onan even. It'd be cool to have an Onan in one, but for $400, it's really plug and play. Any other engine, I'm looking at least $300-400, and then custom drive shafts, custom motor mounts. I'm looking at a lot more money, and if I can find a Kohler that runs nice, I'd be so happy, so happy. So I think that's the direction we're going to go with this tractor. But yeah, maybe I think I'll try to get a video out for you guys tomorrow of it running and driving, and let me know what you think about it. It's definitely a project, but for $300 or $350 with the history and with it being a really nice original, I can't complain whatsoever, really. I'm more than happy with it. So anyways, please like, subscribe, check out my other videos, and have a good day.